Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. After 6 long months, goddamn. So, where have I been in the last 6 months? Asked no one ever. But I'm still gonna put it as if millions and billions of people are listening to my broadcast. The annoying long pauses, the annoying going blanks, and the unsuccessful attempt to throw English all over the place is still there. Nothing has really changed, but I might have figured out a way to record everything. And yeah, the video that you all might be watching, I don't know if this is. By the way, this is also a test for my current setup, and I have no other way other than to record this until I reach the office and then check it out for myself. There is no other option, really. Anyways, if you all might have thought that there is a slight increase in the effort. Yeah, there is a slight increase in effort actually, but it wasn't really directed or specifically oriented or specifically made for vlogging purposes. This is a full-blown vlog right now, by the way. There is a video, there is an audio, both have been combined, hence it is a vlog. I haven't really bought an action camera. I haven't picked brand names as if I'll get copyrighted by every big camera. Anyways, let's not over explain everything and let's not try to put a joke into everything, which isn't really a joke again. Anyways, so I have figured out a way by which I can, record using my phone camera and by turning the screen off. Actually, there is an app which allows you to record. I don't know how the app really works, but yeah. Next to my mic setup, I had gotten an intercom system. Not really an intercom system, but sort of an intercom system. It is just the mic in this case, not the full blown intercom. So yeah, there's that. So the mic is there and doesn't really record in a very good quality to be honest, but still does the job. So I got it because every day I used to, I developed this habit over the last 6 months to listen to some sort of content while driving. It can include comedy videos or some sort of a podcast, really depends on my mood. And I am trying to do, like, because I used to wear a TWS, it used to really become irritating for my ear, and then I kind of developed a ear pain. So that's why I bought this intercom setup with just the Bluetooth in this case. And now I'm just trying out something. So that's pretty much it. We are going to make things structured going forward. I'm not only going to trauma dump about myself. I'm not gonna put random captions on my videos. I've learned a thing or two in this 6 months. I already knew it. And yeah, but I have learned a thing or two. Am I still going to edit these videos to edit out the long pauses? Probably not. Am I still going to increase the effort that goes into shooting a proper vlog like this, editing and all that? Most definitely not. Don't have that amount of time. And if this experiment doesn't go well, then again this video also might not come out. So let's really see how it goes. Anyways, a quick status update about myself over the last 6 months. If anyone among you has gone through my previous videos, which I'm pretty sure no one has, Just a quick rebrush. The views that you can see right now, if anyone, if I gain a new viewer by mistake, and if anyone decides to vlog, and again, if they find these long 1 hour videos interesting and engaging, which in this day and age of short form content is highly impossible. If they find it interesting, then you might see that I'm getting 3 or 4 views in some videos, only 1 view. I mean, not really a big deal, but then I used to think that, oh my god, at least 2 or 3 people, excuse me, at least 2 or 3 new people are watching my video, or probably even repeating people. But then I didn't used to get, but I didn't used to get what you can say, subscribers or anything of that sort. So I was very quick to figure it out that sometimes, because we all have because I've got an attention span of a chimpanzee. So while listening to my own video, if I saw an interesting other video, excuse me again, if I saw an interesting video surfacing on YouTube, or if I received a notification, I used to click away from the video and then re-click on my own video. Doing this used to increase the view count, and hence I used to think that, okay, oh my god, different viewers, oh my god, content is blowing up, I want to become a full blown YouTuber. But that was clearly not the case. Anyways, if anyone has listened to my previous few videos, they will quickly understand that at that time I was aiming to buy a car. And the entire reason behind me starting this recording and all these things was for me to be able to buy a car. I think I started recording 3 or 4 months before I could think of buying a car, and I didn't really get and I kept this unrealistic expectation that 3 or 4 months down the line I'll monetize my channel and get millions of views, be able to buy a car through YouTube money, but didn't really happen. But anyways, I have still managed to buy a car. Congratulations to me. I've managed to get a top model as well. Congratulations to me again. One thing that I did good was, I quickly realized that this content thing is not going anywhere. So it's better I focus on my work and get things done there. Because of which I happen to, I managed to, increase so I got an increment, because of which I was able to buy a car. So again, congratulations to me. That's about the only interesting thing that has happened. So the goal is complete. Now that brings me to my content strategy. I'm going to really treat these content things like an SIP. Stay with me now. I'm gonna shoot these videos, and I'm probably this time not gonna talk only about myself. I am going to keep a few, again, obviously they're not gonna be scripted. I'm not gonna think about what I'm actually going to say in these videos over a long time. Before the videos, but yeah, this time I'm gonna take up some topics, random topics. Obviously, this isn't going to be related in any way, shape, or form to anything really. But yeah, I'm gonna this time take up topics and talk about that. And then I didn't complete my point really. I'm gonna simply shoot these videos, upload them onto YouTube while following uh, tips and tricks, whatever is the correct way to say it. And I'm just gonna upload them. I'm gonna forget about them, and I probably will develop a schedule. If this experiment goes well, then uh, I will probably develop a schedule where once a week or twice a week or something like that. If this doesn't go well, then I have also started to get my car to the office, and while going in the car, there is a way to set up my phone's camera actually in such a way that it will record and then it will again generate will also be like a studio as well. God damn. And then I'll also be able to charge the phone 20 USB. Most probably I'm still gonna go with that, but I'm just performing this experiment. Let's see how it goes. And with that, I'm gonna stop blabbering about myself, and I'm gonna talk about something that's happening. What's happening in the world right now? What is new with the Mahindra B6 Batman Edition scam, what the people are really calling it. So for everyone who doesn't really follow the car industry or what's going on in the market, is that which is highly it, because if something happens, then everyone is immediately notified about it through Instagram reels and everything. And let's face it, the only real source of misinformation and information at the same time right now is becoming Instagram reels. So that's that. Anyways, back to the point in hand. So Mahindra B6. So Mahindra B6 Batman Edition. So Mahindra launched the B6 Batman Edition, I think some 1.52 lakhs above the topmost model of it. Was an improvement, aesthetic improvement from the topmost model, and it was launched at 1.52 lakhs, something above the price of the topmost model. And Mahindra at that time claimed that it will be a limited edition vehicle, and it worked really well for them. It was sold within, I think, some 1 minute or 1 minute 30 seconds, something like that. 999 cars. So, like every other corporate and every other revenue focused organization who only wants money and has nothing to do with the people or trust or all those things. This year again, I think this started off in the last month or last 2 months, something like that. What Mahindra did was it relaunched the Batman Edition, and this started an absolute shitstorm. They thought that it will was this marketing strategy developed by an intern, because they thought that doing so will not anger the founding members, is what they're calling them. Founding members of the B6 Batman Edition. And no one will clap back or no one will protest or anything of that sort. So they really launched things, and so since they had done this became like the founding members, as they're calling them, and protested and did all those things, and then Mahindra released a statement saying that in the original press release they had some sort of a clause and all those things, and then since they are launching this limited edition again, they are not technically on paper cheating anyone, and obviously they start to cover things up and all those things. But um, then the founding members of the B6 Batman edition protested, and then what they did was, since they had already started the sale, they sold again another 999 units, which this time were sold in 15 minutes or something like that. This time with heavy subsidies and not that much, what you can say, increment over the topmost model. But yeah, sold all those 999 units. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. But then they also announced a buyback campaign for the B6 electric, and I mean B6 Batman edition. And in this buyback campaign, they offered the original founding members of the B6 an option to buy back their Batman edition at the exact cost at the ex-showroom. I think at the on-road cost, apart from the what you can say, apart from the uh, apart from the what was that? Why do oh shit? Why do I keep forgetting all this? Oh, I thought this was a cop car, but it isn't. Anyways, so what was I saying? Yeah, the buyback is optional at whatever price. I don't really know how it works, but I think it includes the ex-showroom price plus the insurance and I think all the taxes and all those things. And then they put normal clauses that will check how it is the usage and if there is any damage and all those things. Pretty normal clauses. But then there was this one clause stating that if you have gotten your vehicle on loan, which nowadays 99, even I've gotten my vehicle on loan. It's not like I've bought it on cash and then I'm criticizing other people, but let's get to the point. If you have gotten your vehicle on loan, then you need to foreclose the loan. That's right. You need to foreclose a 30 lakh loan. Obviously, pay the foreclosure charges and then, you know, buy this car, buy another car. In which world does this make sense? Look at this guy. I don't know why people are like this. Why do they stop in the middle of the road? Anyway, staying to the point. Look at this fool. He has caused so much traffic jam. Oh my god. Such an idiot. Now this single thing is gonna cause me delays and I don't know if I'll be able to cross. Oh yes. Wow, what a luck. I'm able to cross this. Please, really. Anyways, getting back to my point. So yeah, this is what they've done, and they're like, okay, this is where we stand, and now you decide what to do and all that. I mean, there is a way, obviously, if you wanna get rid, but then it doesn't make sense. You have to at least pay 1 or 2 lakhs from your pocket to, foreclose your old loan and then get a new loan and in interest and all those things. You have to add another 1 or 2 lakhs, and that's when maybe you'll be able to get the car. But yeah, pretty shitty clauses. They broke the people's trust and they falsely marketed their product, which they are now claiming that Initially, let me tell you this also. Initially, when the initial press releases were being pushed out, well, they were saying that no, we had mentioned this in the previous clauses and we have mentioned this somewhere and you guys entered it and all that, and maybe that was the case, but then again, limited edition, you got all your things and you got the things done, and now you're obviously buying you're obviously trying to get another you're trying to get more money out of this company, and obviously they had put out a statement saying that along with these 999 units which we are now selling in 2026, we will be launching another lot in 2027 as well. What's the point of limited edition? Done. So yeah, a pretty big shitstorm, and really shows what happens when bad marketing really runs the company. And let's face it, every Indian manufacturer faces this issue. Now I've gotten a Tata car, I've gotten a Tata Safari, first up model manual diesel, and the Safari is an excellent example of bad marketing. The Safari, first of all, to everyone who didn't know about this, but Safari wasn't going to be the original name of this product. It was something G something named they had named it, and yeah, they had named it G something. You can still see some of its branding on the vehicle if you're lucky. If the PEI didn't forget to pull out the stickers of the barcodes of some parts. And I think on the last day before it was on, to change it to Safari. Initially, even I was among those people who hated the Safari. As a matter of fact, I've convinced a lot of people to not buy the Safari and go with the XUV700. And the reason was not for them to be able to buy XUV700, but rather to stop buying the Safari. Because they didn't even try to cover up their mistake. They didn't even try like, okay, um, this product. They didn't say anything at all about the product. Anything. They just launched the Safari into the market and they left it up to the perception of the buyers to understand the product and to check if they fit in it. And obviously, they gave it to the reviews who highlighted their features and everything. But very few buyers were able to were able to even the reviewers who are respected a lot inside the or are preferred or are listened to a lot in the blogging industry were obviously pissed off about the Safari, because the earlier version of the Safari Storm was a ladder run frame and was a full-blown SUV, and now if you name anything SUV, it should be SUV like it is similar, like if something like, let's say, Jeep Wrangler or Jeep Rubicon launches a vehicle similar to a Safari and then names it Jeep Wrangler. Doesn't make sense. When you say Safari, a picture comes up in your mind saying that it will be rugged, it will be off-road focused, and at least it will be rugged. Let's not put it off-road focused, but at least it will be rugged. It will have four-wheel drive, it will have a frame chassis, it will have good suspension, and all those things. And initially, they didn't say anything about this, and nothing at all about its engine, nothing. The only information that they put out was that this engine was sourced from Fiat, which angered the people even more, because the Safari Storm had an engine which was exactly same to the engine which was put in in a pickup truck. I think 402 was the model name of that pickup truck. And this also I came to know recently. Not recently, this I was aware. So everyone was pretty pissed off. The sales of Safari had plummeted. No one was really buying it. Compared to the, I think 4,000 was the number that the salesman guy gave me across the across India. That XUV700s were selling. I think 4,000 is an obnoxious number, but okay, let's put it that way. Let's assume 1,000. Let's assume. But the Safari and Harrier combined were selling only 200 or 250 or 400, something like that, which is a really bad number when it comes to competing in the market. But then, when I deep dived into the rabbit hole, and let me even share with you how I deep dived into the rabbit hole. So basically, I noticed a 700 that was down, like that was absolutely. Its ground clearance had fallen off drastically. It was flat to the ground, and then what you can say, I researched, and I thought that okay, must be overloaded, must have a lot of load inside it, and all those things, and yeah. So and keep in mind by this time, the XUV700 was the go-to car for me. It was the best car for me actually, and I was initially planning on buying the XUV700, and I had also planned that if I were to, somehow be able to, gather a lot of money, then I'll buy the all-wheel, I'll even buy the all-wheel drive variant. But then, after looking at this car and when obviously I also managed to overtake this car, this XUV700 that I saw on the road and then I saw that there was only a single man sitting inside the vehicle, and it was down to the ground. And I'm really telling you, down to the ground. Whichever vehicle you have, if you have a four wheeler or if there is a four wheeler around you, let's say even if it's a two normal four wheeler, fill it to its capacity, and then even fill the boot. If it's a seven-seater, then fill it to the capacity for all the seven or all the three rows. Make seven people sit inside it, and make fairly heavy people sit inside it. Let's say in the range of 80 to 90 kgs. That was the condition of this XUV700 with one person sitting inside it, and that made me go into a rabbit hole where I researched what was the reason for this, and obviously if you want to find about any issue related to any car, just go into Google, type the name of the vehicle, and add the keyword issue. And Reddit threads, and everything will come up. And for me, the source of information was really my own understanding, this understanding. This is what I feel. Let me be very clear. Just in case this video blows up and the Mahindra officers end up seeing and they decide to sue me for defamation, this is what I feel. This is my own understanding, and I really want to be safe. This is my own understanding. Okay? So, XUV700, first of all, doesn't have an anti-roll bar, doesn't have anything related to safety. It just has its frequency-dependent damping, which Mahindra claims that that the frequency-dependent damping basically changes stiffness. And if you go into expensive cars, there are pumps inside the hydraulic. So a suspension basically comprises of a spring and a hydraulic basically. We call it a damper. So this damper comprises of a fluid, and that really decides a lot of things. That decides the ride quality really. So in all these expensive cars, you have pumps fitted onto the damping system, which are responsible for, based on the terrain or based on the use which you want this car to perform, will change the pressure inside this damping system by altering the amount of fluid that is there inside. And what this will do is this will make the car adapt to that particular terrain. Stay with me now. This is kind of technical. So what the XUV700 does, what they have arranged to, manualize this on the basis of simple physics, and then by doing so, they have eliminated the need for a pump. What they have achieved to do is they have simply, they have what you can say, simply in the normal functioning, they have managed to leverage that to change the pressure of the vehicle or change the pressure of the thing. So what they have done is they have for every damper they have kind of developed a reservoir, and to this reservoir they have added a passage from the main reservoir where the fluid is initially stored. So let's say you are going on a smooth road, and then you all of a sudden go onto off-road patch. So if you even go through a speed breaker or even go through a off-road patch, what you will quickly observe, oh shit, I took the wrong turn. Anyways, what you will quickly observe is the temperature of the, what you can say, sorry, not the temperature, what am I saying? You feel a bump, you feel, in Marathi what we call is a jhatka. You call a shock basically. You will feel a shock. Mahindra has leveraged this shock, and this shock will basically first of all cause for compression inside the fluid system, the hydraulic system, and then what it will do is it will allow some of the fluid that is placed inside this hydraulic system to move into this reservoir, and once it goes into the reservoir, what will happen is that now the excess fluid has gone into the reservoir, so you'll only feel the first bump, and then your suspension will actually adapt to the stiffness inside the suspension will adapt to this terrain, and then as long as you're on this terrain, you will not feel as uncomfortable as you would in any other conventional car without frequency dependent damping. Now you will say, Pratik, this is genius. why why are you criticizing this? As a matter of fact, every other manufacturer should reduce the cost of the suspension systems and deploy this. No! In mechanical, there is a term known as fatigue loading. So what will happen is that since this is happening manually, and it is not like the fluid will slowly go into the, and by the way, when you come, let's say now you I didn't complete my point really. So when the what you can say when the fluid when this pressure is generated, it will go. Now the fluid is gone. You're on this rough patch, and this fluid is gone into the other reservoir. So now obviously you won't stay on that off-road forever, and you'll again come back on the normal patch of road. So when this happens, again there will be a shock to the suspension system. This time the suspension system will develop suction. Before this, in the first cycle, when it went to the off-road on the off-road patch, it developed pressure, because of which the liquid inside the hydraulic fluid inside the damper was pushed into this reservoir. Now it will develop suction when it goes back onto the normal road, and then it will pull the fluid inside this reservoir back into the suspension system. So that's how it basically adjusts to any terrain. But now the point that I was trying to make, there is a thing known as fatigue loading. And when anything happens manually, it definitely there is cycle time for it. Everything performs on the basis of cycles, and repeated cycles of any particular thing alters the pressure alters the geometry of that particular part massively, basically. So you might think that this fluid is going into the reservoir and back, into the main reservoir very smoothly and all that. No, all of this happens at really high pressure, at really high speed as well. So this causes wear naturally. So if you are someone who uses their vehicle every day, this should be happening every day in your vehicle, and after 4 or 5 years, depending upon your use, I'm saying 4 or 5 years, if you fairly use it every day in city and all those things, what will happen is the channel through which this is going on, the diameter will increase. There will be a change in the design of the system, and clearly this can never be accounted for. The changes that will happen during the wear of every vehicle is different. It can never be accounted for. And obviously, since it is a mechanical part and since it is a pre-designed part, it will not adapt to the change in pressure. So that is why maybe after, let's say, if you go in a bump, let's say you go in a bump, you go in a bump, then the fluid goes into the fluid inside the main reservoir goes into the other reservoir, and your vehicle adapts to it. But this time, since the internal geometry of the channel through which this fluid was flowing has now changed, it will, due to wear, obviously, due to the cyclic loading, due to the cyclic loading of this fluid going inside and out of the main suspension reservoir, the geometry has now changed. So when you come back to the normal road or you go into another terrain, the fluid that has gone into the reservoir will not really come back, and which is why the vehicle will start to sit, as what we call it in mechanical terms, and basically the ground clearance of the vehicle will reduce, this has basically damaged or reduced the life of the suspension system, this particular mechanism. So even if the suspension in its earlier stages, make no mistake, it is the best in class suspension it gives. This is a really intelligent system, frequency dependent damping. And it gives you a feel of driving a much more expensive vehicle than what you have paid for, and all those things are absolutely true. But then obviously this is a very short-lived feeling. In India, no one switches their vehicle after every 2 years or 3 years. Very few people are able to do that. Mostly everyone keeps their vehicle for a minimum of 10 to 15 years. And especially if it is diesel, then there is, the vehicle. And forget about, keeping or throwing away or selling the vehicle. That's not even the case. It will be sold to someone else. It will still continue its service. And it will be on the road for at least 20 years before it is decommissioned or before something happens with it and then it is thrown away or something like that happens. So there's that. And clearly this system has not, and again there was another issue, another issue with the suspension. So what Mahindra had done was, after designing such an intelligent such an intelligent system, and by reducing the roll bars, anti-roll bars, and the stabilizer bars, and all those things, they had basically increased the load onto the components which are present inside the vehicle, onto the existing components. And make no mistake, reducing the number of parts will reduce the cogs, which is the, what you can say, this will reduce the cost that it takes to manufacture the vehicle, and then let's give them the benefit of doubt, they will be able to provide better vehicles, better quality vehicles, and you know they'll be able to make vehicles in a cheaper cost, because of which the vehicles will become cheaper, and then we'll be able to buy good vehicles for lesser cost with more features. Let's give them the benefit of that. Let's aim. Let's think that they did this to reduce the cost, as a result provide vehicles to us in a cheaper cost. Anyways, coming back to the point, since they have reduced the load carrying since they have reduced the load carrying components of the vehicles, what had happened is the load on the existing components increased, because of which, and at that point normally this is the standard practice. The bushes, they had not changed the bushes of these components, and they had not really, they were still using rubber bushes. So what this had done was, after a long use of these components, these bushes used to simply wear off, because the load, because obviously other. So again, in mechanical, or you can simply apply logic to this particular part. Whenever load is on a system and whichever component is the weakest, that will fail first. So in this case of in this complicated suspension system, everything is made up of metal and the bushes are made up of rubber. Then obviously the rubber bushes will fail first, because of which there was a huge noise inside the vehicle. There always used to be this ticking, tuck, 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 ticking noise inside the vehicle, and yeah, obviously that was because the rubber issues used to wear off. Now, for the newer version, they've changed it with, and then obviously the suspension needed pressure, needed the spring stiffness to be in a certain way that the reverse pressure is still generated somehow. So yeah, so basically that is also, for that they also change the stiffness of the spring. So, but then the frequency depend, and now they're calling it the Da Vinci suspension, but nothing has really changed. But everything still remains to be the same, and the bushes have become metal. They have what you can say, reinforced the vehicle, and but nothing has really changed. Earlier the issue used to arrive after 5 years, now it will arrive after 7 years at max, but the issue will still arise. And that is really the advantage of these conventional systems. As long as the design consideration is proper, and there is lesser the moving parts, more will be the life of that particular assembly. So in these conventional systems, since there is no frequency dependent damping and all those things, the dampers hold it better off for a long time. As a matter of fact, if you check a Safari which is very old, there is, so yesterday I had gone to one of my relatives' place, and there I saw a Safari which was old. The older generation of Safari, it was at least, what you can say, at least 2 or 3 years older than mine. It was at least 2 or 3 years older than mine. But the stance was the same. And sorry, I was distracted by that fool who was pulling off stunts in the middle of a busy road. But yeah, let's focus back to the point in hand. Anyways, so yeah, the stance is the same because the suspension is rigid. The Safari has a really rigid suspension. Yeah, and yeah, I went so much into the rabbit hole that I forgot to focus about the point by which I had started. So in Safari, what they have done is they have literally used the same chassis and the same suspension set, almost the same suspension setup, out of a Range Rover. There was this, this vehicle that Range Rover used to offer, Discovery. It was sort of a crossover between an off-road vehicle and also a family SUV. It had four-wheel drive and all those things, but it has the same platform So the Discovery, there is a specific model of Discovery if you really take a look, where the Discovery also is offered in 5-seater and 7-seater options, and the 5-seater option at that point was exactly similar to a Harrier, and the 7-seater option had its rear increased in height because it wanted to accommodate the third row passenger really well, because of which uh, it used to look slightly elevated from the back, and that is exactly the Safari right now. And then obviously to implement the four-wheel drive system, that will be really expensive, and they've already spent a lot by giving you a good platform, a good suspension, which is why they still want to keep the cost down. I mean, the margins are, let's be really honest, they want to keep the margins workable. And my original point was the marketing of the Safari was so bad that they didn't mention all of this anywhere. Anywhere. It was not even there on their website. No, nowhere had they mentioned that this is the D5 platform used inside the Range Rover. The suspension was the same. And the better part, the better part, the load carrying components inside the suspension were really high, because of which the stiffness was also high. There's no doubt in that. But the load carrying components were high, because of which the safety and then the reliability of the vehicle increased. The rear torsion beam suspension inside the Safari is so thick that when the vehicle doesn't move, I have driven the vehicle for 2000 kilometers now, and I have pulled out overtakes more aggressive than what I used to do in the hatchback which I used to own. The suspension is that good. And then, obviously you might think that, while pulling off such aggressive overtakes, if you go on a rough patch, it will bounce a lot and then it will be really uncomfortable. The noise that happens is really uncomfortable, I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot of noise inside the vehicle. But the ride is so smooth, oh my god, I'm not even joking. It is so good. Let me be again very clear, it doesn't even come close to the XUV700. Not even close. But again, in the initial days. If you are someone who doesn't, who will be not, who doesn't, I'm among those people who didn't really need the vehicle, but I wanted to buy the vehicle because from an angle of flex, if you are that sort of a person who doesn't use their vehicle like a workhorse, who just wanted to buy a vehicle because they wanted to buy a vehicle, and who has gotten a big vehicle because they wanted to be able to. So these people who won't be relying on the vehicles on a daily basis, I suggest these people to buy the 7XO, because the cyclic loading in this condition will be really less, and then will increase the life of your vehicle. If you are someone who is buying a used 700, then you buy that vehicle which has more years and or less kilometers. Or if the kilometers are or if the kilometers are more than, then the years should be less. No, sorry, should not be less. So, then the years should also be more. My recommendation will be to not buy a vehicle with more than 30-40,000 kilometers, and with a span of 4 to 5 years. The suspension will have gone off, and there will be a lot of issues inside the vehicle. And a big ass bill is waiting for you with that suspension. And that's pretty much it for today's broadcast on about I'm about to reach my workplace, and because of this reason, I am gonna stop and you know pause the recording, which has automatically paused, I think, because I